Once again, 343 Industries manages to shock the world and make more bad decisions upon more bad decisions when I didn't really think it was possible for them to mess up even more, but they have done. Let's take a look at what's happened today. So, as you can see, Acend Club, the number one team in Europe that have won the most tournaments out of any European team, and of course the most prize money. They have the best team in terms of stats, everything like that. Have just revealed today that they were denied partnership for season 2 of the Halo Pro Series and things like that. So yeah, their HCS partnership was rejected despite their request. They have not received any elaboration on the decision, other than that they were deep into consideration, which is the same message that Pioneers got when they were also declined theirs not long ago as well. At the start of July, just a couple of weeks ago here, we have Speechless right now. KCP was denied partnership for HCS, and the exact same phrase. Apparently, we were deep into consideration and just didn't make it. So again, here we go. Same wording exact, just a copy and paste response from HCS basically. We were deep into consideration. Sensei's obviously this is disappointing for the organization, players, and fans. They put a lot of effort into supporting the players and the scene, and the players have shown world class. That they are world class competitors, and Europe can actually compete internationally. That was a big thing for a while. Europe was seen as always the underdog when it came to NA versus EU, whereas Acend proved that European players can place in the top 8 for the North American events when they go over and things like that. And those players were better than a lot of the NA counterparts. They do mention again respect for teams such as KCP, also put into the scene, and surprised that they didn't make it through the partnership at this stage. Now, Acend says that they will continue to support their players, and their goal remains to take on the best teams in the world and put European Halo on the map. The problem with this is that if you're not a partner team, your funding for Halo is limited to, the funding of your organization. It's not like you don't get any money from 343. You're not part of the league. You also don't get any exposure from HCS and 343. So those players probably aren't going to be paid a big wage. They're also not going to be involved in any HCS sanctioned events because they're not partnered. They would be earning considerably less money. Therefore, why would they stay at Acend? Why would they stay for the loyalty of that organization? A lot of those players have only been there for, not even 12 months. The game hasn't been out that long. A lot of those players on Acend have been there for 9 months, 8 months. There probably isn't much loyalty from those players. There might be a bit, but if another organization that gets accepted comes along, for example, there's lots of talks of maybe Complexity coming along. I'm not sure who's big in the European side, but if another big European organization comes in that has, like the 700,000 to 1 million followers on Twitter or something, they have more backing, and they're going to offer you more money, those players will leave to take part in HCS. Acend has been shot to the ground, and they are not being given a helping hand back up. Nobody is going to pull them back in here. So yeah, obviously it was the same thing from Pioneers as we saw. Loads of people just, I do not understand. No clue what they're doing. Speechless. This is people with a name as well. APG Pro Player. 90s is a commentator. Obviously, you got Spartan, who's no stranger to voicing his opinion on Twitter. Chig, known player as well. Bound, known player. One of the photographers for the events. Just constant non-understanding players, casters, whatever. On that one, again, here's Pioneers denied partnership. Their official statement on this. People saying they deserved it. They hate HCS. Again, commentators that are known. I think actually Wonderboy's now he's the coach. So fellow teams in the league and things just saying it's shocking, uh tough to hear, no way you denied them, blah blah blah. Tashi is in the firing line a lot of the time, and just everyone in disagreement with it. Last but not least, as well, we had Status Quo, which is a little bit more understanding. They don't quite have the name and the pull that they used to do back in the MLG days. But, again, another team that was declined. I feel like that brand could have been brought back up again. There was not a lot of nostalgia value here. And once again, yeah, people saying, what are you doing, Tashi? You'll get it next time. Can someone tell me the reason why they're doing this? And it's pathetic. Like, here we go. HCS is shitting the bed. It's a joke. Yep. And this is what Tashi had to say on why they're denying these teams. This was during an interview with LVT.
That you were looking for in a team coming to season 2. Like, what made
just watch his response
more appealing than a roster like KCP? Or I shouldn't say roster, an organization like KCP.
Yeah. So I have to unfortunately give a vague answer here because there's long-term.
So Tashi has to give a vague answer because basically he is just the face and the mouth that has to deal with the the oncoming onslaught of hatred and things like that. He is just the face of HCS. He probably doesn't have a huge amount of say in the decisions, but I think it's still his job to be like lead of the HCS. He probably has some involvement with that, but ultimately it probably comes from higher ups.
Stuff that are in the works that we can't talk about, and I think when
stuff in the works they can't talk about basically means they have teams with more followers.
More clear, but generally for the franchise, we just felt like teams were a better fit in how they were set up, the different components of their organization, their track record in Halo or other games. And again, this isn't saying like it's really hard to
track record in Halo and other games. Again, it basically means you're looking for an organization that has won multiple events in multiple esports and has a lot of financial backing, and therefore they're a big name. They're looking for stability. They're looking to bring in organizations that have the money, have the funding, have the fans, have the previous wins in tournaments, that are big names. They're going to put HCS on top.
Really hard to not think of it's really hard to not separate. Like, there's nuance here. Like, just because KCP doesn't get in doesn't mean that all the things I'm saying.
What does this mean? What does that mean, Tashi? There's nuance here. Look at, you can tell himself he's like trying to think of the words to say, scrunching up his face, like doesn't know how to portray this without telling the absolute truth. It's just a complete lie.
Are not true for them. It's a matter of and all the other teams. I know we're talking about KCP a lot, but there were a lot of other really good teams, awesome teams that did not get in. And it doesn't mean we don't think they're awesome. It doesn't mean we're not grateful for their investment in Halo. There's just nuance to all of this. And the same thing happened with the HCS grassroots program. Like, we had committed to 3 or 4 creators per wave, and hundreds would apply and hundreds would get denied. And it's not because, hey, we don't think it's not because you didn't get in, so therefore we think you suck. It's you just got edged out for people who we thought.
He's going to say they got edged out by people they thought were a better fit. I'm going to stop him right there. What he really means is you were edged out by somebody who has more followers, who gets more viewers on Twitch or more viewers on YouTube, and can pull in more fans to the game, which generates more revenue for 343 Industries. It's all about money and reaching a bigger audience. As we know, 343 is trying to reach the broadest audience possible for Halo, because that's what they think they need to do in order to grow the scene. However, in doing so, they are alienating their existing audience and turning their existing audience against them. Currently, I would say at least 75% of Halo fans, probably 90% of HCS viewers, are against 343 and don't like 343 as a company, and also now don't like Halo. If your existing fans don't like your game and don't like your company, how does that look for the incoming prospects that you have? They're probably not going to want to do business with you. And if they receive a huge amount of backlash as a result, which is something I have tweeted about. We can quickly go to my Twitter here. I said that they should be ashamed of themselves, and I added Tashi and HCS. Denying applications left, right, and center is damaging your scene. It is. It's very damaging to the scene. Because all the people see this, they're going to be met with an onslaught of hatred once they announce the new partners, which is going to damage the new partners' brands. If they announce that Complexity got in, and the reason that other teams didn't get accepted is because Complexity has more backing, bigger fans, and that's what they want in there, HCS is going to have zero Complexity is going to have zero fans from the HCS. I've seen this happen before. I can't remember what esport this was in, but I'm sure I've seen something like this in a franchise league where one team gets denied, a bigger team comes in, and what happens is people are pissed off, rightfully so, and that team is basically just targeted as like the evil organization in the scene. They're booed when they come on stage. Whenever there's a decision on like, oh, there was a disconnect or there's a ruling here, it's always against them and in favor of their opponents. It's just not a good situation for the other teams coming in. And I ultimately think that those teams will leave HCS if they don't place well enough. If a team comes in and they place like 6th or 7th in the league, or they don't win any tournaments or anything like that, you know, they're probably going to leave HCS because they've got no fans. Nobody will be buying their merch. Nobody's buying their in-game skin. People actively hating on them in comment sections on Twitter, YouTube, trolling them in Twitch chat when they play on live stream, stuff like that. They won't want to be associated with 343 because they'll see it as a toxic environment. So that's my take on it. And finally, obviously, we have a tweet longer here from one of the players from Acend. Ignore all the advertisements for United Airlines and all this crap on here. Finally, Sika, one of the players on Acend, being partnered would have been a dream for him. He was thinking about being able to represent Acend with the colors in the game. Purple and white skins would have been pretty cool. And then, obviously, seeing all his friends show support by wearing the skins would have been heartwarming. It felt like they did some really big achievements throughout the year. They did. They won multiple events. Probably the best European team we've seen in years. And they feel like they pushed Europe as much as they could and thought they would get partnered in order to promote HCS and Europe even more, and they would grow together. But it didn't go the way they planned. They are confused because they knew they could do better to help the scene. They've been doing content, boot camps. They're the best placements in the European region, consistently winning every single European tournament. And it's a huge disappointment because the lack of communication they received from 343, it's disappointing. The decision was given with lack of communication, lack of transparency. It was just basically given to them like, sorry, you're not in, on to the next team. Says the team won't give up because of that. Our goal is to make EU proud and everything will work as hard as ever to do big things. Thank you for support. He doesn't mention that they will stay with Acend. I don't think those players will in the long term. I don't see them staying at Acend for any longer than 4 or 5 months. I think they will probably move elsewhere. They might get offers from other players to join teams that are partnered, or a new organization, of course, will be looking to take on one of the teams who is no longer partnered, and they will just offer them more money. So that's that. Not going to play the rest of that video from Tashi. We don't care. So yeah, that's that. That video went on a little bit longer than I hoped. I think it's gone from bright to dark in my room. But yeah, again, just disappointment. Halo is in the hands of some really incompetent people, I feel like. If it were up to me, I would have made some completely different decisions. I think they should really try and elevate the people that are existing now. I think it will build a lot of respect for 343, which is what they need right now, especially amongst their existing fans, because right now they are losing the respect, they are losing the hope, and in turn, is going to lose them what they really want, which is generating revenue for the game and increasing its audience. And those are things they are going to leave. Halo Infinite had an amazing 2,000 concurrent players online when I checked earlier today, which is a huge decrease from the past couple of months, which was 8,000, 9,000, and obviously the start of the game, which was 200,000. They have essentially lost like 98% of their original audience for this game. So they've screwed up, and we all know that. That's it from me, and I'll see you in my next Halo slander video. All right, bye.